Olá, bom dia a todos. Vamos só dar aqui mais 2 minutinhos para as pessoas se irem juntando e daremos de seguida início à ação. Obrigado. Vamos aqui então, iniciando. Mais uma vez, bom dia a todos. Meu nome é Ricardo Monteiro, sou o responsável pela divisão de Adobe em Portugal e Espanha aqui na TD Cinex. E na sessão de hoje queremos mostrar o Adobe Express, que é um dos produtos mais recentes da Adobe, destinado à parte criativa, mas para pessoas que ou não têm curso de designer ou não têm tanta experiência. É uma ferramenta que lhes permite facilmente criar conteúdos para a sua empresa, desenvolver, seja posts no LinkedIn, no Instagram, fazer a própria gestão. Tem uma parte de IA muito interessante integrada que certeza que a Charlotte também vai mostrar, e é uma aposta forte da Adobe para o próximo ano. Para apresentar, temos a Charlotte, que pertence à nossa equipa da TD Cinex. O webinar vai ser em inglês, a Charlotte ainda não fala português, mas qualquer questão que tenham podem colocar em português no chat sem problema. Charlotte, thank you very much for your support with this session, and I'll let you start your presentation.
Brilliant, thank you. And hi everyone and welcome. So I'm super excited to have you join us today for the Adobe Express webinar. It's definitely for me one of my favorite Adobe products right now. During this webinar, we'll explore some of the things that you can do with Express. I have some examples for you guys. And it's all done without needing advanced design skills, which for me, fantastic. The less complicated, the better. So I'll be showing you how Express can empower anyone, from small business owners to marketers to educators, etc. And this will be to turn ideas into eye-catching designs in just minutes. So I will be showing today some videos as well as some personal examples of how you can use Express and some of the important information that you will need when talking to customers. So if you haven't got it already, grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in to the world of empowering teams with fast, easy, and quite beautiful design content with Adobe Express. So I'm going to start with a little story, and we're going to have Taylor here. So Taylor worked on the marketing team. She was managing email campaigns and analytics dashboards. The work got results, but the task felt very copy and pasted every quarter that she was doing it. One afternoon, Taylor redesigned the campaign reports with cleaner visuals, color-coded insights, and a few playful graphics like the ones I have on the screen here. And it made the data easier to read, it looked fresh, and told a better story. When she showed this to their manager, the reply was polite but dismissive. It looks great, but let's stick to the standard format. The execs like the consistency. Taylor went back to routine work, efficient, but she was uninspired. She was a bit bored. So weeks later, a new product launch came up, and instead of the usual slides, Taylor built an interactive campaign tracker that showed live engagement data, where it was easy to copy and paste on a daily basis. The team loved it. Leadership quickly adopted it due to it being on brand with the content that she was making, and they used it for other products. Results improved, not just in numbers, but in energy, and the team started experimenting more. Taylor realized that creativity wasn't a distraction from productivity, it was the engine behind it. And that's exactly what Express does. It brings productivity and creativity to the forefront of people's success in their daily tasks. Now, we know business pains are real, and Adobe does experience this pain firsthand. Adobe's brand team has a creative team of about 10 people who are responsible for the integrity of their brand across every event, social media posts, and then assets that they produce. That's 10 people for a company of 29,000 employees who have an insatiable appetite for content. We know Adobe is a fast-paced, moving company. We know this. And in fact, Adobe had estimated about 126,000 assets every year being generated. The challenge of producing this amount of content, which we all know for a company like an Adobe or even a smaller company, whilst protecting a brand that we all know and love, a brand that they've built since 1982, it's quite daunting. So this is where Adobe Express could come in. You can see here all the content on the board. It's interactive, it's fun, it's lively. And this is where, as a sales person or as someone working in sales with customers, we can also ask if these companies, if these businesses that we're talking to face a similar problem. How do they handle requests from within the company on brand content? Which departments are the most demanding? How much do they spend on external agencies to handle this problem? Express solves that problem. Express is your internal agency now. And then what do they end up doing with all of it? How do they launch it? How do they post it to LinkedIn, to social media? Express, and I will show you in a few slides, deals with these problems and these challenges. Adobe understands the challenges that employees face in their day-to-day business. You can have burnout from a ton of workload. Content creation can be relentless, constant deadlines, algorithm changes, and an always-on culture. HR teams often struggle to recognize creative fatigue since output can seem subjective. Then there can be a lack of career clarity. So roles like content specialist or social media manager can be vaguely defined, making promotion paths unclear. Many creators feel undervalued or misunderstood by non-creative managers. And a program like Adobe Express brings those non-creatives into the creative world. It makes it accessible for them. You can then have misalignment between creativity and policy. So sometimes HR rules restrict the creative expression. So the tone, the humor, or personal branding. With Adobe Express, it stays on brand to the company regulations and what the company says that they need. Creators may feel stifled, if company policies are over rigid about messaging or self-promotion. You can control this with Adobe Express. Balancing creativity with data. Now, this is the bit I always personally struggled with. I was originally a channel account manager. As a channel account manager, we deal with a lot of numbers, and that's not my strong point. I was definitely more into the Adobe product itself, the creativity side of my job role. So when it comes to balancing creativity with data, with Adobe Express, it is so much easier. I can create these PowerPoint presentations for webinars on Adobe Express. I can create weekly data updates with pie charts and graphs for my manager to have a look at on the progress of my role and the enablement I do with people like yourselves in a few clicks without having to stress and have the headache of it. There is an overemphasis on data on a day-to-day basis, and this can discourage risk-taking and creativity. Express changes this. And then you have the cross-departmental challenges. So you have creators who often sit between departments. HR want professionalism, legal want compliance, marketing want engagement, and there's always conflicting feedback that can lead to confusion or diluted content. With this, all of these departments can work together off of the same platform. So let's take a quick look at Adobe Express in action.
Watch out, I'm on a roll now. I got that rhythm beating from my head to toes now. Spotlight, I'm shining so bright. I got that electricity all up in my vibe. I got that sunny day, we're living it. I'm gonna level up, I set the pace. I do it freestyling on my way. And I do it how I do it, and that's just how I do it. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got a good, good feeling, good, good feeling. La, 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 la,
Okay, so that was just a quick look at some of the things that Adobe Express can do. I love this video. It's similar to another video that I'm going to show you a little bit later on, but it just brings the energy of the product to life, especially with the music. And with it being 11 o'clock, still morning time, you're having your morning coffees, you've had your morning meetings, hopefully that music just livened you up a little bit. Maybe even gave you a jump scare, because I know sometimes it does that to myself. But Adobe Express, as you can see, is one of these products that's meant to be fun. It's meant to be for the non-creatives. It's meant to bring life back into people's projects and work on a day-to-day basis. So what is it exactly? Now, whenever you hear me talking about Adobe Express, you'll hear me say it's the quick and easy create anything app. And I'll repeat that again, the quick and easy create anything app. And it really, really is. And whenever you're having your conversations with your customers, I would repeat that to them. It is the complete tool for fast content creation. It's part of the Adobe Creative Cloud family, and it is designed as a simplified version of the tools such as Photoshop, Illustrator, and even Premiere Pro with the video features. It focuses on speed, ease of use, and accessibility, letting you design directly in your browser or mobile app. For the first time, and I'll show you what I created a little bit further on down the line, used Express on my mobile phone just before Halloween for the weekend. And it is a lot easier to use on a mobile phone than you would expect an app such as Adobe Express to be. But it had everything, and what I was able to generate and create, I was able to do it in minutes. It was super simple. You can use it for things like social media posts, which is what I used to create mine for Instagram, but you can use it for things like TikTok if you use TikTok and LinkedIn. Flyers, posters, and presentations such as you're seeing today. Logos and brand kits, short videos and reels, which are becoming more and more popular within businesses nowadays, and then photo edits, background removals, and animations. It's fast, it's intuitive, and it helps to create content that stands out for businesses. It was designed to be accessible to absolutely everyone and not just professional designers. And you will hear that a lot when Adobe Express is being talked about. Adobe noticed that many people, small business owners, social media managers, teachers, students, and content creators needed this quick, easy way to create professional looking content without learning complex design software like Photoshop or Illustrator. What can it do? So Express can do a lot of things, a lot of exciting things, from helping you to design those social media posts with templates, images, videos, flyers, and more. You can use the quick actions within Adobe Express that use the generative AI tools. Now, generative AI is becoming more and more popular within companies. Everybody, whether they're at the beginning of their AI journey, the middle, or towards the end, and they're becoming quite, a pro within the AI world, everybody is on an AI journey, whether they realize it or not. And with Adobe Express, it's an easy way to step into that AI world. You can create profile pictures. So when you look at profile pictures for myself, for bios, for webinars, for events, for LinkedIn, I created this on Adobe Express. I uploaded my photo, I chose a background, and there you go. In a minute, you've got a profile picture. And it looks pretty professional. There are some fun ones though. You can then organize pages, remove backgrounds. Now, when I did photography at university, I used to use Photoshop to remove my backgrounds. And I remember it would take me quite a while to do. Now in one click, you're able to remove the background. You can animate characters as well. I am not an animator, far from it. Yes, part of my role is demonstrating Adobe products for you guys, but animation is definitely one of my weaker spots when it comes to the creative world. But just in a few clicks, you choose your character, you choose your background, you do your voiceover, you click, create. You have an animated character for a PowerPoint presentation, for a webinar, for a training session, for a short clip on social media. It's really fun to use. I definitely recommend it. And then we've got the third-party plugins, which are also worth a mention. And I do mention this a little bit further down the line, but Adobe has partnered with so many third parties now, such as Google Drive, OneDrive for storage, TikTok sounds for TikTok music on your videos. So many different plugins that it is becoming a really versatile and useful application for people to be using in their companies. It's also worth a mention now that Adobe Express has launched. I don't know if you all keep up with Adobe Max. Adobe Max was last week. They were all in Las Vegas, and there was content coming out of that event left, right, and center for Adobe. There will be a newsletter coming shortly for you. I am working on that with some of the important updates. There's some really exciting stuff on Firefly too. But Adobe Express will also now have the ability to have Adobe AI Assistant within Express. So when you're working on your PDF management or converting your PDFs, you're looking for information and data, you will be able to use AI Assistant on Adobe Express now as well, which is super exciting. Again, it's bringing all of these amazing AI pieces from Adobe into consolidated toolkits. So it's definitely worth a look and worth a watch for when that update comes in. So Adobe Express and workflows. Now, workflows is featured heavily when we're talking to customers. There's always lots of steps, time consuming. A lot of hours go into designs for different companies for different reasons. But before Adobe Express, before we had AI coming into play, marketing workflows were often very, very time consuming, fragmented, and highly dependent on professional design tools or teams. There would be multiple tools, little integration, heavy reliance on designers, inconsistent branding, cost and complexity as well. There was a lot of different moving pieces. Then came Adobe Express, and Adobe Express simplified this process by putting design, video, and brand tools all in one browser based app, allowing marketing teams to design and publish social media posts instantly, use the brand kits for visual consistency, reuse templates for campaigns, and then collaborate in real time with designers and teammates. Now remember, a super important thing about Adobe Express when you're collaborating is you can lock content, which is super exciting. When you lock the content, you can work off of the same documents, but leave the logo in the place that you want to leave the text boxes or the format in one place, and they can only add the text in on top. When I first moved to Spain 9 years ago, I was an English teacher, and I worked a lot off of Google Drive and Google Docs. One of my morning routines with 4-year-olds was when you learn in English, the first things you learn are the colors, the numbers, and to say hello, how are you, and the emotions. So I had my routine set up. We would do this for the first 5 minutes of every lesson. A new teacher came along and she had no teaching experience. So I thought, I'll share this routine with you, and then she's got a basis to start her classes with. One of the downsides to this is she didn't make a copy, and she was working off of the same PowerPoint, the Google Doc that I was working off. I'm in the middle of my morning routine with the kids, my starter routine, and my slides are being changed and disappearing as I'm using it. Super frustrating, super frustrating. However, with a product like Adobe Express and the workflow that it can a simplified workflow that it can create, you can lock that content so your work isn't being deleted, it isn't being changed, and you're not risking having to create things again. So it's definitely a product I would have loved a few years back. But when it comes to asset creation, users can generate creative assets using the images, illustrations, using Adobe tools, AI prompts, and stock images. Then you go into template creation, and these templates form a base for consistent branding and content creation across teams. Then again, we say it a lot, you can create the brand kits, centralize all brand resources, logos, fonts, colors, and visual styles. Then we have the live collaboration, which I've mentioned, and then adapting that brand content. So templates are and branded content allow for quick repurposing of content. You can then create variations of this, so content is automatically localized and resized to suit different needs and platforms. So the workflow in Adobe Express is simplified, it's easy to use, and it saves time for customers that are using it. Who needs Adobe Express? Now, when it comes to Adobe Express, again, we're saying non-creatives, but who needs it? IT could use it. Procurement can use it. Supply chain, legal, finance, sales, marketing, and HR. And these are all roles within a company that we would think, oh, no, they don't need that. It's a creative product. That isn't true. IT managers can use it for streamlined deployment, centralized license management, enterprise-grade security, and simplified operations. So if you know that you're talking to someone from IT when you're having your conversations, those are the key points that they're going to look for with this product. Marketing teams can accelerate marketing efforts, enable non-creatives to create seamless Adobe ecosystem integration, and brand consistent content. Visual communicators or designers can rapidly customize templates and integrate Adobe Suite assets. It increases creativity and productivity, and then they can focus on more of the strategic work. HR teams can use it to create compelling employee messages, improve internal communications, maintain brand consistency, and engage employees effectively. Now, I know when I receive a message from HR, if it's your standard black and white message, I tend to skip over it and don't really read it, and it could be something important. But if I had something from Adobe Express that was engaging for us, I would probably focus on it a little bit more. Sales teams. Now, we wouldn't normally think of sales teams using a product like this. We normally just expect them to be on the phone and put their information into a CRM system. However, they can quickly customize the branded content, engage customers effectively, consistent messaging across all touch points, and then faster response to opportunities. For example, if I was still working in sales, I would 100% be using Adobe Express to do my research on my customer beforehand. And when I get that meeting with that customer, use it to do a little bit of a presentation to try and draw them in. Then you've got other knowledge workers. So you can transform PowerPoints, PDFs, create visually impactful designs, make lasting impressions, and then create professional results without those design skills. Brands that rely on Adobe Express, so here are some examples of companies already using it, are people like Red Hat. So Red Hat have said that they reuse and adapt content for campaign events. They found it 10 times faster in saving time. ABB create localized campaigns for global markets, and they've had 6 times more higher engagement with this. Accenture deliver engaging training and development content, and again, 45% cost saving. Prudential unlock self-serve on-brand content creation. Again, they've had 4 times higher engagement. And then Dentsu respond rapidly to markets with engaged social and ads, and they found that they've had 70% faster time to market by using Adobe Express and the workflow within that. So, did you know with Adobe Express we now have spell checker involved? If you're anything like me and you work fast, you tend to look at the spelling afterwards. I know in the script that I created for this a few months back, I wrote it very quickly. There was a lot of spelling mistakes. Popped it into Express. Done. Sorted. You can now unmerge and unmerge table cells. You can add alternative text for images when posting to social media. Record videos directly within the editor, so you can now record yourself directly onto Adobe Express. You can learn how to add custom Instagram reel covers, create social media clips with Clipmaker, stay organized with the Google Drive add-on as I previously mentioned, and create profile pictures. So that was just a short clip, as I mentioned previously. Is it really that simple to use Adobe Express for a non-creative? Yes, it is. Now, I know my image isn't the best resolution right now because I have uploaded it, downloaded and re-uploaded it. However, I uploaded a photo of my dog, and yes, this is a real photo of my dog. She is an absolute powerhouse, and you will see her a lot during my presentations because, as you can see, she's got the best facial expression, so she is my permanent model for a lot of my work. But there was a green park in the background. With one click, I deleted the background, and it was just her face, which is quite a face. And then I was like, oh, I want to do this as a little Halloween post. So I got a stock image of a Halloween scene, popped that in as the background. And then I was like, oh, it's missing something. I feel like with her expression, she could be thinking about something really crazy or thinking about cats. So I then looked for a moving image through Adobe Express of a speech bubble and a cat for Halloween, popped it in there, added the music on top, and within 2 minutes, I had something that I could post to social media. Now, I'm not a pro when it comes to social media. I use it for my family mainly, but it was something fun and quick that you could produce that smaller companies, non-creative designers can also produce for their content. Some of the other ways you can use it, as I said previously, you can create profile pictures. So in a few clicks, you can have different backgrounds for profile pictures. You can resize easily for Instagram, YouTube, or a LinkedIn post in a few clicks. You can create logos easily using the templates and the text options. And then you can also create different posters and backgrounds using different backdrops and sizes. So for example, here in a few clicks, you've got the background removed, you've added in a background that you see fit for the poster or the flyer you're trying to create, adding in text and clip art within a few minutes. It is really that simple. So, video enhancement features. This is the thing that is becoming big within AI right now. We're seeing it in Firefly, we're seeing it in Express, we're seeing it in Acrobat Studio. With Express, you can generate videos with a text prompt and starting image as you can in Firefly. You can remove noise and echo from audio, which for me is absolutely perfect. As I said, I've got a dog. She likes to bark. She's only 1 year old. So sometimes when I'm recording, some of that noise and echo from audio from my microphone, even though it's noise cancelling, does filter through. But with Express, that can be easily removed. And then you can edit videos with scene view. We then have something that is super important for everyone, and it is the language. More and more languages are becoming available. For Adobe Acrobat Studio, we know that it is only available in for PDF Spaces a certain amount of languages right now. But in Adobe Express, we now have it available in Danish, Dutch, which is a big one. We have it available in languages such as Greek, Welsh, which is a very extreme language. It's not a very well commonly used language, but it is available. So Express are adding more and more languages from the most common to the least common languages to make it available for everybody. Some more of the design enhancements that we've seen are adding motion to flat images, so create impressive motion graphics with dynamic animation, add physics-based movement to multiple elements in a flat image with new presets like wobble or wind, so you can add that in there, which I think as well, it just adds that extra something, especially if you're doing a presentation. You can apply image filters, so you can enhance your images with 30+ filters powered by Adobe Photoshop, so you can quickly apply those filters with a single click. You can generate similar images. So if you like an image, but you're not really sure that you're certain of that image, you can create similar images using AI within a few seconds, and then you can create a signature collection. You can customize the templates with quick replace, so you can easily update designs and branded templates by adding the quick replace there, which provides a simple view of all the items. You can draw attention with drop shadow now. So with just one click, you can make key images or elements pop, adding instant depth and dimension to any design. And then you can make content more engaging with motion. Now, something that I find really interesting about Adobe Express is the Adobe Help X page. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with Adobe Help X, but for me, it's a Bible and a knowledge house of the Adobe products, from Adobe Sign to Photoshop to Express. And as Adobe Express is a new product, even though it's about 2 years old now, it's still quite new, so Adobe is still receiving feedback of that. And on Adobe Express Help X page, what you can see is where maybe features aren't working as well or feedback has been applied. You can see the fixes that they are working on, the ones that have been fixed and the ones that are still in progress. So if you know that something is missing or something isn't working properly, have a look on Help X, see if it's on there first before giving feedback, because it could be something that they're working on. And I think that is a really, really beneficial design point to Adobe Express, is having that feedback and Adobe actually applying it and fixing it on a regular basis. When it comes to updates, because I know this question gets asked quite a lot by customers on how often does Adobe Express get updated. I've been using Adobe Express fully on a daily basis since May of this year, and there has probably been 3 major noticeable updates to Adobe Express, but it is updated on a monthly basis. But it's updated in a way that you don't notice the changes. The Express doesn't really go down when you're using it. It's not noticeable like it has been with some of the previous product updates, where you maybe stop using it for a while for it to update, etc. It is really, really unnoticeable. So something else that I want to go into is social media publishing. With companies, whether they're small companies, medium-sized companies, or enterprise companies, social media is becoming more and more popular. It is becoming a necessity for companies. And with Adobe Express, you can create Instagram stories, preview them, and publish static video and mixed media Instagram stories all in one place. Schedule multiple stories, so you can schedule up to 10 stories for one efficient content planning. And then organize your content so that it suits your flow and creates a cohesive narrative. So something super simple about Adobe Express when it comes to social media publishing is the content scheduling and planning. In a few clicks, you can schedule for future or for now to post through LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube through Adobe Express. And it just makes life a lot easier for people, and it doesn't need that missing in between product from Express to social media that you would need in previously. It is all done through Express. So something I want to introduce you guys to as well, if you haven't already seen it on the webinar we did previously, is Acrobat Studio. Now, Adobe Acrobat Studio, and the reason I'm bringing this into the presentation today for Adobe Express is because it includes Adobe Express. Acrobat Studio is a product that Adobe has launched very, very recently, that includes your Acrobat Pro, Adobe Express Premium, AI Assistant, and PDF Spaces. So let's take a little look. As you can see here, there are very different screen grabs of Acrobat Studio. You've got the Express from creating templates, creating reports, and then you've got PDF Spaces. Now, PDF Spaces is absolutely fantastic feature for Adobe. It's been a very long time since Acrobat has had any updates done to it, and this is definitely the most exciting one. But PDF Spaces has you have the ability to have all your content and all your work uploaded into one. And then obviously you have Express included in this. So whenever you're talking about Adobe Express to your customers, if they're also using Acrobat, it's always worth a mention or a look to see if Acrobat Studio could be of benefit for them. Now I do have a short video, so let me play that for you.
Adobe Acrobat Studio is all new. What can PDF spaces with AI do? Drag in research, drop in thoughts. Watch AI pull insights from your docs. Got the data? Do a recap. Generate a slick graph ASAP. You did your thing. It's time to share. Then let your team build from there. Ideate, generate, do it real quick. Let AI assistants do the trick. All wrapped up? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat.
So again, another jump scare with the music there. If you're not paying 100% attention, because that will go in your ears if you've got your volume all the way up. But Acrobat Studio, as you can see, is a powerhouse tool, including Adobe Express. It is your PDF tool that's we all know and love of Acrobat Pro. Your sign capabilities, AI assistant for that generative AI touch when it comes to working on documents, but then you've got the creative side of it as well with Adobe Express. So there's definitely, as you can see from videos like this, content out there when you're talking to customers to make the conversations more exciting, make them more inviting. But it's so worth shouting out, because we need to remember that these are for the non-creatives. If you've got people using Acrobat Pro, but they know that they need to make a presentation or a flyer, again, Acrobat Studio, Adobe Express, these are all the things that we should be shouting about right now. For me, it definitely makes my daily tasks of creating these presentations for you guys, creating one-pager documents or newsletter updates, or even writing my blog for Adobe. It makes it more exciting and easier to use because I don't have to keep swapping and changing between programs. So something that is worth a note, as a partner of ourselves, we do have the Channel Academy. So TD Synnex joined with Adobe to create the Channel Academy, and we do have an Adobe Express e-learning for yourselves where you can learn all about Adobe Express off the back of today. From the design impressive social media posts to how we use Express, who uses Express, how should we be selling it. And you can get a badge from that, which you can then post onto LinkedIn or put into your signatures for your emails. So it's all about, if you're not signed up to Channel Academy, 1, sign up, 2, take the Express course, and then 3, earn your badge. It's not the only course we do have on there. We have 3 courses. So we have Adobe Express, we have AI Assistant, and then CCT Pro, which will be launched in the next 2 weeks as well. So if you're interested in gaining more insight to the products so that you're more knowledgeable when talking to your customers, you've also got this to be able to show them as well. Then, as today we've had the Adobe Express webinar for yourselves, we also have some centralized European webinars going on. So on the 21st of October, we did a webinar on Acrobat Studio. If you didn't sign up to that webinar, you weren't able to make it at all. We do have the recordings. So if you reach out to your BDM or your contact at TD Synnex, you can get these recordings that were missed if you're interested in learning more about the topic. We then have on the 4th of November, so today, so there was a webinar for you guys this morning, but I am equally doing the same webinar this afternoon at a European level on Adobe Express. Then the 19th of November, we have an Acrobat Studio refresh. So again, if you missed the Acrobat Studio webinar, there's a 30-minute refresh session on the 19th of November to sign up to. Then on the 2nd of December, there will be an Adobe Firefly webinar. There were a lot of updates that came out of Adobe Max, some exciting stuff. We now have Firefly version 5, for example. So there will be a webinar on that. And then starting from Q1 FY26, we will have a sales motion breakdown webinar, which obviously starting Q1, starting a year with an Adobe, will be a breakdown of all the sales motions for the coming year. And then there will also be a CCT and CCE webinar coming as well, but the dates will be to be confirmed for that. So if you are interested in learning more and you're enjoying these enablement sessions, please reach out to your contact to sign up for the webinars, to get the sign up link there, because there is a lot more to come, and it is something that I am hoping to do throughout the whole of FY26 with you guys, because I think these are super important sessions, and it's always good to keep up to date with the new updates and launches that Adobe do. So I want to thank you for your time on this webinar today. It was I love talking about Express and Acrobat Studio. Every time you see me, you will see me excited about it. But if you do want to connect and you do have any further questions at all, obviously as a pre-sales technical specialist, I'm not a direct contact for you guys, but please feel free to scan the QR code and connect with me on LinkedIn. I do post about the upcoming webinars. I do post about the products, the blog, Q&A videos that come out. So if you're interested in learning more and want to keep up to date with TD Synnex and Adobe, we do have them on there.
Aqui em relação à pergunta no chat, se tiverem o Creative Cloud, sim, o Adobe Express está incluído. Se for uma aplicação individual, um Photoshop, um Premiere, o Illustrator não está incluído. Por isso, ou podem comprar o Express individualmente, ou está incluído com a subscrição da Creative Cloud. Aqui, se alguém tiver mais alguma questão, pode ir colocando no chat. Charlotte, thank you very much for your presentation. Great presentation as always. Let's just see if someone has any other question. If not, we can close the session. Muito obrigado a todos pela vossa presença. Penso que não temos aqui mais nenhuma questão. Vou deixar aqui o e-mail para quem ainda não tem, da nossa equipa, caso tenham alguma questão para colocar depois da estação, se algum dos vossos clientes tiver interesse, ou se vocês próprios tiverem interesse na solução, sabem que podem contactar-nos. E caso tenhamos caso necessitem também de algum apoio junto com o cliente, podem também contar com o apoio da Charlotte para apresentar a solução. Charlotte, once again, thank you very much for the session, for your presentation, and we can close it and wish you all a good week, and thank you, Charlotte. Muito obrigado a todos e o resto de uma boa semana, e qualquer questão podem contactar.